Raheem here. Welcome. Assalamu alaikum. Let's slay some demons. Sisters and brothers, this is my ongoing series breaking down the Injil chapter by chapter. This is chapter 11. I skipped ahead to chapter 18, which has already been published because it has some very pertinent information that speaks to exactly what is happening right now. And so does chapter 11. So I jumped ahead and completed 9 chapters. Chapter 10 was the next one, but I skipped to chapter 18. I'm going back to chapter 11. I'll get around to chapter 10. I'm trying to address them in the order where they're most relevant. All of them are relevant, but there's some more relevant than others. So chapter 11. Why chapter 11? I intend to go into a little more detail than I have previously, because chapter 11 gives a timeline, a very specific timeline as to what's happening now. A lot of the times we talked about is as a result of chapter 11. It's a blow-by-blow, step-by-step timeline of events leading all the way up to now. Bring us right into November. We're told that the critical period would be a time between the Sabbath and winter. So you have to understand what the Sabbath was. People, they think say prayer doesn't happen on the Sabbath or in winter. So they assume the Sabbath is Sunday. Doesn't happen on a Sunday, doesn't happen during the winter. Which is kind of quirky, right? No, you have to understand the Sabbath represents the 7th month, right? Which would be September, because March would be the first month. March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So you're talking about a period of time, a window. So you have all those out there, they claim they understand, they claim they broke the seals and all. Well, we're not going to worry about that. So I'm pushing these things right now because the angel, my study of it, says we're at the door right now. We're not at the door. We got a foot in the door. See? All the events it's talking about is already taking place, right? We're right this period of time, everything is already set. So chapter 11 is going to take us, walk us right through how we got here and what we should expect. So it says, no one would know the day or the hour, only the Father only. That's David, Farad. Because they knew they would try to change it. So you can't get from me. So they have to go grab hold of Farad. But we'll know the season, we'll know the general time, and we do know my study, and according to the angel, only one person would understand the angel. Only one other person would break the seals. And breaking seals get a time frame. They wouldn't give it to you for nothing. It says this is a period of time. So we're going to go through chapter 11 and see if it's correct. We're going to follow what it says and see where it leads us. So this is my second presentation of the day. I have one other I can get to. So let's move on. Let's move into it. Chapter 11. Get your transliteral. Forget about Jehovah. Forget about King James Version. Okay, brothers and sisters. Shock of the hour. Some of you should be familiar with these symbols. These are just here to give you some idea how symbols changes, right? On the left here, we see the different symbols that define the original nation. They're called the 7 golden lampstands, not the lampstands, 7 lampstands that represent European countries, 7 golden ones. Golden represents the original nation, also represents Islam. 7 eyes, they're also called 7 spirits, also called the 7 horns. That speaks to the new Jerusalem. Not going to go into that now. On the right here, that explains you what the earth is and who the golden calf is. Because remember I said the golden part is the Islamic part. So the top wings of every nation represents the Islamic part of it. So if the calf, the golden part, that would be, because the top of the Asian nation are the Arabs, Middle East. They're the golden part, the Islamic part, right? So there you go. That's who the golden calf is. Let's move on. Angels, chapter 11, the 2 witnesses. Now here's the time frames they give you. And I give you a little breakdown right here. It talks about 42 months, and they'll be witnessing. That's 42 years. You have to understand, they say months, but they talk about what they're talking about there. The days what they're talking about. Remember, it's coded, it's sealed. The seals are now being broken, have been broken. So 42 months. That's from 1948, from the time they couldn't witness against false Israel before false Israel existed. False Israel didn't come into existence until 1948. So witnessing started with 1948. For 42 years, that would bring it to 1990. That's the 1,260 days, right? See, that would be 42 months, 1,260 days, right? Divided by 30 will give you 42 months. So that's 42 years, 1948 to 1990, that's 42 years, right? Then it says the next one is 24 months. So I have it right here at the top. That they're witnessing, that's the Shia, they was witnessing, they're the top. Or the Orient or the European countries, right? They're the top. And then it says they'll be cast down, right? But it wouldn't be buried. So they would be under the earth. They'd be above the earth. They weren't allowed to be buried. Remember it says, read it carefully, it says they weren't allowed to be buried. That means it wasn't on the earth. They're between, right? So if for 24 months, it says, that's 24 years. So the war actually started in 1991. That's when the war actually started. That's when Gog and Magog actually moved into the Middle East. That's when they cast the Shia down, right? So 1991 to 2015 is 24 years, right? But 24 years, right? That's the time, that's 24 years, 2015, that's during the time that they came up with this nuclear agreement, America and everything, went through the UN. So now, that's from this period of time they made that agreement. So now it says they'll be under the foot of the nations for 42 months, right? Which in this case is 3.5 years. Okay. So why is it 42? Why is it 42 years in this one? No, 42 months. It says it's. You have to understand, bro. It says it's sealed. You have to break the seals. 42 months, 36 months is 3 years, right? 42 months is 3.5 years. So it says they would be under, right, the foot of the nations for, so that would be 3.5 years because they're under control of the UN. The Shia, right, they're under authority of the, specifically Iran was under authority of the UN because of that agreement. So it was under authority, the UN represents all the nations. It was under authority of the UN because of that agreement. And said that would go on for 3.5 years, which would take you to 2018 in 6 months. Remember, we talked about from March. So the 6 months would be September from March, because March is the beginning of the year, right? Then it says, right? So now the under earth, now the under for all the nations, right? The under the bottom, right? Then it says 24 months, right? Okay, 24 months, right? That's 2 years, 24 months, right? It says that would take you from 2018-6 to 2026. That would take you to 2018 September to 2020 September, right? 6 months from March, right? Okay, that's 3 days and a half, right? It says, at that time, right, it says the Spirit of God came to. Where's the Spirit of the God? Okay, the God right there, that's the Lord of the earth right there. See the one on top of that? Right? That's false Israel. And the spirit he has, that's the spirit. Because remember, the demons also called the 7 spirits. That Spirit of God came to them. So now they're covering that. They're moving up. See, they're moving back up. They're getting ready to go to war, contention. Now, so, because that's during the time, right, that Trump came in and broke the agreement. Says, no agreement. Now they're in conflict with each other again. See? It's conflict between the two. They was down peacefully down there under the nations. Now it's conflict. He broke the agreement. And so it says after 3. So that means it says after the 3, we'll talk about that in a minute, after the 3 days and a half. So after that, after 2,000, so if after that, that means not September, but October. Remember I said the time frames between October and winter. Right? It says the Spirit of God came. And then it says, then they would stand upon their feet. So it's 2 things that happen there. And that's it. And so that means October would be after 3.5 days, right? Because it says after that. So it wouldn't be that September, October. But then something, then they stay on their feet, right? Now they're on top again. Right? But that says not hours. That means that's the next month, November. That's how we get to November. Okay. So let's start this over. Remember I said previously, I don't know if you remember in the previous video, I said the face of the serpent, right? See up here where you see Obama, see the red, in that position they refer to as a serpent. That doesn't mean everybody knows a serpent, that's just angel language. So the face of it would be the sun. So that means he would be the face of the serpent. Okay. That means he's a serpent. And if they do it, that's angel language. You have to understand angel language. See? Okay. So here's the 42 years. And I've got the whole thing. It says, and I shall give to witness of me, that's the Shia, they will prophesy days 1,260. Right? That's the 42 months, right? Or 42 years, clothed in sackcloth. So they also call it sackcloth. These are 2 olive trees. They're called olive trees. And the 2 lampstands, right? See, they're lampstands, but they're not the golden lampstands. When I said you have they're the lampstands because they're the European lampstands. There were 7 of them, so they're part of lampstands, right? And they're called olive trees, also called sackcloth, right? In sight of the Lord of the earth having stood. See, he's the Lord of the earth. See, and they're in his sight. Okay? So that's that part. So they're witnessing for 42 years, right? This is when false Israel first comes into existence in 1948. Then here it says, these are having authority to shut the heavens in order that rain will not moisten the days of the prophecy of them. Now, the 5th seal, the 5th trumpet, is the first one to fall. Remember I said the 5th is first, the 5th is the first, the 6th is the second, the 5th is the first, 6th is seventh, The 5th is the first, the 6th is the second, right? The 6th holds back the first 4. Then the 4 will blow. So the 5th is the first one to go, and the 5th was called rain. That's what it means. So he goes, and he's also the 5th trumpet. So it says, because he's not in heaven anymore, so that's what it says. These have the authority to shut the heavens, or their rain will not moisten. So during their prophecy, see, this happens, right? So there's no rain up there anymore. That's what it's talking about. So they're holding back the rain. There's no rain up there anymore. Okay? Then it talks about the days 3.5, right? This is 24 years, right, where they're not allowed to be buried. That's why it says, when they finish to witness them, the wild beasts stepping out of the abyss will make war with them and make war with their conquer them, will kill them, right? And to fall them upon, see, it's going to kill them also. But they haven't got to that point yet because I said the killing at the bottom. See, it's going to make, it says two things here, make war with them, conquer them, and kill them. So it has to make war with them first, then it has to conquer them, and then kill them. So right now, this is stage of being conquered. And to fall them upon the broad of the sea the great, right? If you remember the one I talked about, sea the great in chapter 18, right? Sea the great represents the earth over here, the blue one on the bottom, right? Western Europe, which is being called spiritually Sodom and Egypt. Also, Lord was put to stake. They're looking out the pre-tribe tongues, and they to follow them. Days 3.5, that's the 24 years. And to follow them, they're not letting them put off no more. In other words, they won't let them be buried. So that means they're not under the earth yet. See, they're in that position. Not allowed to be buried. See? See, and it says, because these two prophets torment those dwelling upon earth. When I said the middle here, that's the position of torment. The under the bottom is a position, if you study chapter 18 first, right, you understand this. The bottom down here is mourning, but the middle here is torment. See, they're tormenting. They're in a position of tormenting now, not being buried. That's talking about. That'd be that would be for 24 years. From 24 years, that would be from 1991 to 2015. That's 24 years. They've been in that position. And then, right, this would be, then the 42 months, that's when the deal is made, right, 2015 to 2018, 6. That's a period of time, right? This Obama made that deal. This goes into the Trump administration for 2 years, right? For 42 months, 3.5 years. They're at the bottom. That's why it says, and I shall and say, and the court say, okay, because it's given to the nations, the seed of holy they will trample on 42 months. So see, all the nations will trample on them for 42 months. That's 3.5 years. So they're under control of the UN, because UN represents all the nations. That's just talking about there. Okay? See? So now they're here. See, because now this they've been, remember it said first they wouldn't allow to be memorial, right? And they wasn't buried, but it said it would kill them. Now they're just being killed. They're at the bottom down here. See? On the foot of all the nations. Now they was buried they're buried at this particular time because they're under the earth. Okay? So that brings you up to 2018. Because this one here brought you up to from 1991, 24 years to 2015. Right? Now 2015. Now this during the period when Trump kills agreement. Right? So now there's conflict between them and America. There you go. There's a conflict. So now there's a conflict. See, because it's the 3 days and a half, right? During that period of time, right? The Spirit of God said, entered into them. See? That's it. The demon is the Spirit of the God there. He's the God of the earth, right? And that's it. Remember, the demons are called spirits. So he's the Spirit of the God. So now, it said they came into them. So now, right? That's what that means. So now conflict with America, Britain, false earth, they try to exert their power again. It's conflict now because Trump will kill that agreement. Okay? And it says, after the 3.5 days, it doesn't say after the Spirit, right? Spirit life entered into them. After. Right? So that puts you into October. See, after. See, because the 2018 and 2006, that puts you to September. But it says after. So that means it'll be in October. Right? When they have been in this position. The position they're in right now. In conflict. Where it says, right? Okay. Hope you understand that. Then comes November. Then they stood upon their feet now. After 3.5 days, see, the spirit of life came to them. That was first part. And then they stood upon their feet. That's the second part. Now, where's the second part? Where have we dealt with that second part? Right? See, because we talked about all these different things. We got down to the point, right? We get down to the point where the 3.5 days, there's any more time? Right there. The hour. Right? So that's the next month. Put you to the next month. A month later, in November. And it says, what happens then? In that hour occurred shaking great. That's the war. And a tenth of the city fell. See? Put you November. So, and that's, it says, in that hour occurred the shaking great, and a tenth of the city fell. In November. So let's talk about this tenth of the city falling. Okay. Now it talks about this. I'm going to go back to the sixth seal. Those days are shortened. See, what happens? It says, talk about the sackcloth, right? The sun becomes black as sackcloth of hair, moonhole becomes blood, right? Am I showing that here? Well, to some extent, those who are familiar understand. I'm not going into all the details about that. I'm just explaining what it's talking about here. What we need to focus on is that, and the stars of heaven fell. Which stars? That's the four winds there. Fell into the earth. Now, how can they fall into the earth? That's this is where it gets so. That's where you have to really pay close attention. How stars are falling to the earth? I mean, it's two of them. We know how they fall. One falls up here where you see Levi, and one falls here with a diamond. So how is they both fall to the earth? It's a star. I mean, it's more than one star. It says stars. The heaven fell into the earth. So at least two stars fall on the earth. At least two. As a fig tree is throwing unripe figs of it by a wind great being shaken. So as this happens, it's happening simultaneously. So who's the fig tree? Remember, the olive trees were the two witnesses. The fig tree represents false Israel. That's commonly known even amongst these pastors. False Israel is known as the fig tree. So its figs would be Gog and Magog, right? And so they're unripe. In other words, something happens before they're ready. See, because they're not ripe yet. They was planning on doing this to us before I acted first. Because it says the stars fell as the fig tree is still unripe figs. Before they get a chance, by a wind being shaken. See, what was the wind that shook them? The wind that shook them was the witnesses. They moved up before they kicked them out of the Middle East, before America was ready to do their thing. They're surprised. They preempted. They moved first. That's what we're talking about. That's what means those days were shortened. Because the way, if you study Genesis, it was supposed to happen the other way. They were supposed to attack us first. That means eat a tree of good and evil. The tree of good was been the Nation of Islam, right? Tree of evil, Islam, and the tree of evil was been the Christians, right? So the tree of good was been the Muslim blacks, and the saints, and the tree of evil would been the demons. See? And they would do that, and then they covered themselves. They found it was naked. That would be the sackcloth. But this happens this way instead. In other words, they cover themselves with sackcloth before, right? They eat a tree before they attack us. Because when you eat something, you consume it. That means they're getting ready to get rid of us. But they're told not to do it. You could beat us and torture us, but you couldn't kill us. But now they're about to kill us. So I hope you understand. I'm not. Go back and check my there are videos out there about Adam and Eve, and then you understand. I'm not going any more detail about here. So the war occurs, right, before they're ready. So we're talking about the war occurs in the middle before they're ready. And at the same time, that's when the four winds blow. Okay, we'll see that in a minute. Okay? And this is the day of the wrath, right, of the Lamb and Farad. That's at the bottom down here. For the great day of the wrath of them, and who was able to stand. See? So here we go right here. See? This says sun became black, right, as moon hole, right, and and the sackcloth became his blood. Where you see bow there and rain, there's also blood. So, and where you see waters, that's also moon, and the wind is also sackcloth. But those of you who've been studying, you know that. So after right, they stood upon their feet. So they stood upon their feet right now, and it says, and that hour occurred. That's the hour now. We're not November. Occurred great, shaking great, and tenth of the city fell. What does that mean, tenth of the city? Right? Okay. If you count down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? Okay. Remember, they was up here in this position where the witnesses are. So they're not down. They fell now. That was a tenth. They was a tenth of the city. They fell now. See? Because the witnesses move up, so now they fell. They was a tenth of the city. And this is where you have to really pay close attention. And will kill the shaking names of men 7,000. So where's it telling you there? See? America falls, Israel, and Britain fell. But it says, where's telling, and the city, and city, the tenth fell and killed. So what's that talking about? See? Okay, you count these up. Each one of these represents 1,000. 1,000, 2,000, 3, that's up here. This represents the ark and the waters. This is 7,000 here. So what's happened here? It's only 7,000. That means one of them is gone. See? That's the 10 city that fell, and they're going, right? And so where are they? They're here. That's what's telling you when that happens, right? When the seventh, in that hour, the war takes place, right? This happens at the same time. That when Babylon falls, so it's not a month later or whatever. It always happened at the same time. When they kicked out, now they kicked out, but also that's when this happens, when they go and attack us. Same time. Once they kicked out, that's they go attack us. See? I don't see them here. You see the blacks on top because they're under them. I did that, so you could understand that's what that we're being attacked here, because they're under. America is under the demon, the demon here, and Britain is under the Levite there, and Suleiman, he's there. He suddenly come to wake you up. What's going on? And that says 7,000 was killed. There's a 7,000. So yeah, that's why I put the numbers together to understand what's going on. Because what he's trying to tell you is, when they kicked out, at the same time, see, that same hour, right? That's when they attacked us, because that was their plan. They planned to do it, but the war happened before their plan took place. So it happened before, right? The shock of the hour. It happened before they was ready. That's why I said unripe figs. Well, that's what they're planning right now. That's why Farah has to intervene. See? That's why it says, if those days weren't short, no soul be left alive in them because of the sake of the elect. You understand that? Hope I'm explaining that clearly enough, brothers and sisters. See? That's what it's talking about. See? So you got the 7, that's what it says. Because these are all going to be wiped out, right? Except for the witnesses here, right? But that says 7,000, right? See? So actually, I'm trying to oversimplify this, right? Well, no, I'm going to leave it like that because I'm going to confuse somebody if I go any further. Let's go to 4 winds blow. The 10th city is gone, right? See? So, and great fear fell upon them. Now, the great fear, right? This way flee to the mountains, also called mountains. But the great fear, if I go back, the great fear, okay, let me go back. And you need to go back in chapter 1 to see this. See what it says fear there? Because that one is, he's the one of the 4 winds, but he's also called fear. And how do you know that? When you go first, when you go in, see what it says bow? That's John, right? And it says, in the first it says, he put his hand upon me and said, fear not. See? So he would be right here where you see the white one is right here. and his hand would be here. So fear, let me see, put a hand above me. That's how you know that's fear. So why is that important? See, I'm getting some real complicated stuff here because most of the stuff I'm talking about, and y'all keep it, constrained within that paragraph itself, right? See, okay, I'm showing that right here. See where they're attacking us, right? But a lot of these things you have to go to other chapters, right, to understand certain things. That gets more complicated. See, so that's what I'm doing. So to find out what fear means, you have to go back. Like those keys I was talking about, you have to go back to other chapters to find out who those symbols meant, because they go across chapters. So here, these are also called the mountains. You get in that chapter 17, right? They tell them to flee to the mountains. But it says great fear came upon them. So when it says, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear came upon those beholding them, right? What does that mean? See? Okay. There you go right there. See? Great fear, that's also Elijah. Right? He's also one of the four winds. The four winds blowing. Four winds are blowing. Okay? It's blowing right there, right? And now that's the resurrection. Because they grew up in dry land. I talked about that when I talked about the children of Israel going across the Red Sea splitting, all that kind of stuff. There you go right there. And then Elijah, right? He's there. See? Because it said, and you step up, it said, and I heard a voice great saying, step up here, step in heaven in the clouds. Right? Okay, we ain't got there yet. Okay. That's what it means. Great fear came upon them, those that saw them. So who can see? Only one can see. Remember, there's the 7 eyes. See, great fear upon those beholding them. Only one that can behold them is the 7 eyes. They're the only ones that can see them. Then it says, I heard a voice great saying, step up here and step in heaven in the clouds. Right? And beheld the enemies of them. Right? The clouds, remember, the clouds also represent, they're going down now, but let me say this. These also represent the clouds. The demons and the Levi, they represent the clouds. They're the 4 clouds. See? So he says, step in the clouds. So the clouds are removed because he stepped there where the clouds were. See? That's why I said, when you see a Son of Man come in the clouds, see, those represent the cloud. But that would be in that position, because that's when he become manifest to the nations at that point when the resurrection takes place. So it says he come in the clouds. So I'm going into much more detail than I usually go into, but I'm not going to excruciate detail where I put exact symbols every page. Because I'm talking to people that studying this, so you should understand these things. Okay. So so this is the New Jerusalem. Remember I said the horns? Now they call the horns the 7 horns. New Jerusalem, right? And this is the new earth. The new heavens up above it. This is new earth, right? But that was called the waters before, and the ark is that. Remember how many was an ark? 9. That's the ark. That would have been the 9. And floating amongst on the waters. But now it's called the new earth. Okay? And the flood. See? So they were called the waters. That's new earth now, right? But the waters also represent the tribulation part. So that means that the new earth is the Sunnis, the Arabs, right? And the Levites, so they're still in the waters. They're still in tribulation. They go in tribulation during this period of time, right? They see the rivers and the sea, right? And now we got the demons. They're at war with America and Britain. I mean, they're going at it, right? That's the second demon plague. See, America's in turmoil. And then you got insurrection going here because the demons, and they're tearing this country apart. They got a civil war going between the demons and the angelicals and everybody else countries going to hell, being torn apart, right? And that's that time. At this time is when China and India, which was the leopard and the leopard with yellow with brown spots, right? Right. That's what leopard is, right? That represents that goat that attacks America, right? And Britain, comes across the Pacific Ocean. They're the floods, a flood of humanity, not a flood of water. Here's a flood takes place. That's why it says names of men, 7,000. Now you see 7,000, right? Okay, because the demons represent this part of 7,000. How do you know that? Because remember, and when I've talked about the demons being cast down, when Elijah cast them down, and it says it was 3,000. Each one of those represents 1,000. So on that line, okay, I hope you understand. See? And leftover, they became, and the leftover in fear, right? Because remember, Elijah represents fear again. In fear came, they gave glory to the God of heaven, right? That's those leftover. See, because it says name 7,000, that's these. So leftover will be those on the top there. See, so they gave glory. See, but these were killed. 7,000 was killed. But what left over would be the ones above that, right? That's New Jerusalem, like I said, right? Again, the flood. There's the flood. They invade America, Britain, and Europe. They all hurt. The whole earth was flooded. They get rid of all the Europeans and flood them all. That's that war. China, India, they go to war. And you notice the reverend in there, right? The reverend in there, it also represents, read chapter 17, we'll get to that. It says there was a scarlet colored beast. That's the reverend. See? So they will be alongside. That means non-Islamic Africa will be with them. And nobody don't like this part. Well, better get ready. Better get over it. Obama will be leading, he's the one that will be leading a confederation of non-Islamic countries. They're going to be a confederate. They're going to be united, and they're going to be allied with China and India when they go to war against Europe. See it, brothers and sisters. Hope you understand. Hope this has been informative. I'm going to close it out here. It's chapter 11. The reason, like I said, I point this out because it gives you a timeline, very specific timeline, tells you where we are, and brings you up to November. It's the month of hell. That's the month that the war would take place. The war will take place. If it doesn't take place, that means I got it wrong. Because I don't believe there's any errors in the Injil whatsoever. So if it doesn't take place this month, that means I got it wrong. Doesn't mean the Injil is wrong. That means I got it wrong. And if I don't get it corrected fast, right, that means that maybe you should be looking for another Suleiman to come and break the seals for you. That's the way I see it. That's my study. 30 years, if I'm wrong, after 30 years of that, I don't know what to tell you, brothers and sisters. But everything is on path for that. Like I said, hold myself accountable. Because I'm not going to shed any doubt on the Injil. I think it's 100% correct. I know it's 100% correct. So there's an errors in me. But if I'm in error and I've broke the seals and it's 100% correct, then we're in trouble, brothers and sisters. Because if this light is fluctuating, and we come into intense darkness with a super hurricane, in the middle of a super hurricane with tornadoes raging all around, and we got a flickering flashlight, we in trouble, brothers and sisters. So we'll see in a couple of days Everything else has been right on point. I have no reason to think this is not on point. I'm not going to think about casting doubts on it because I'm not. But we'll know in a couple of days, won't we? Okay, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.